welcome everybody. It's time for the Barbarians and Amazon scenario that you can find on the back pages of the Wizard King booklet, the rules booklet. What you see here is the vassal module with the units set up in different places, and I'm going to explain the rationale for that here in a moment. Also, you'll see over here, just for fun, I've included some chaos units that will be randomly drawn for play, just to add a little spice to this scenario. We have 6 different chaos units, of which 2 will be selected to arrive on turns 2 and 3 for the Barbarian, and similarly these chaos/wear units will be randomly selected to arrive on turns 3 and 4, as the Barbarians are getting their reinforcements a little quicker than the Amazons will be. Now, to analyze this setup, I'm going to explain to you why the setup's been done this way. First, you're going to see that the Bolin here, the so-called best unit I have is the Amazons. I put out here why? Well, because there's hardly any chance I'll actually be able to add any steps to this. So I'm sacrificing it. I know that seems harsh for the Bolin, but maybe he'll take a step with him before he goes out, he or she. And then I don't think I'll ever have a chance to rebuild it. So even if I kept it back here, most of these towns, the best I've got is Tarzus. It's got 2 steps to replace. I'll never really expect to build this up step by step. So this thing is just not going to be the right thing to have. And this is what's interesting about this game. You do have to pick your units to be effective in certain situations. Here, I don't need fast units. I'm on the defense. So what I need are strong units with a lot of steps, really, of which the Amazons don't really have a lot of great things. You'll see they've got 3 Amazon units of various strength, a couple of Guardian units, and the castle. Let's talk about the castle first. Why is the castle here? Well, the castle needs to be here, possibly in Tarsus, but this is a better place, probably because it's just so much harder to get to. The Barbarians win if they destroy this castle, and so you want to prevent that at all costs. Most of these Barbarian units cannot cross a river. There's no place for anybody to cross a river. The only thing that could do so is the flyer, of course, the Runica up here. And the Viking unit, which must set up here, can eventually, at a speed of 3, make its way around the world, so to speak, to attack from the sea in maybe around turn 5. Not exactly something that, let's just say it's going to be easy to see that coming. So, castle goes there. The Charmer goes in Tarsus because she can build up quickly here, 1 step a turn. These guys are in Farga because Farga is essentially the road to success here for these guys. You've got this path for the Barbarians. Here they come, down through here and here. Yes, a flyer can get in there, but everything has to come this way. This is the path of attack. So the Amazons want to prevent that from happening. Any action over here is a bit of a sidebar, but it's the idea is that you can't let the Amazons have enough cities by the end of turn 5 for them to win by default. So you have the main thrust A, a side thrust sort of B perhaps, and then these guys can get next to the wall on turn 1, and on turn 2 threaten Iron Gate. So the Amazons have a tough road to haul. I'm not really sure that this is going to end in any other way than a draw because the castle can be really hard to get to. So I want to show you now the special scenario rules. These special scenario rules come straight out of my analysis of the rules system. 2 things are missing here that are essential. The definition of a combat hex has to be put into the rules. Anyone who wants to argue that, I'm willing to argue that, but why then is it in the Victory Games rules? If it's there, it should be here. There's no reason for it not to be useful here. So I've used almost verbatim the same verbiage for a combat hex. I've also added another clarification rule. All movement spells can only be cast in the movement phase as indicated on the spell cards. All other spells can only be cast in the combat phase in combat hexes, so that this is absolutely bloody clear. Next, I want to show you the spells card has been mocked up for errata, and one that I've made up myself because of Nico's Wall. Let's talk about that first. The Barbarians have this spell, the Horde. Add one adjacent friendly unit to the battle, overstacking allowed. What I've said was, for clarity, that units that move next to Nico's Wall, oh, there's another L in Nico's Wall, in the movement phase can still be added in the combat phase. So in other words, if you move next to Nico's Wall, that doesn't stop you from being transported over. If you read Nico's Raw rules, it's ambiguous whether that such a unit can be transported over. Why did I pick this way? Well, because this is Wizard Kings, this isn't Wall Kings. So I think Wizards should be able to trump Wall's abilities. So that's why I made that decision. This rule here was brought up because there was a big conversation. Well, I don't know if it was big. It was, let's just say, a conversation about whether hits are steps or hits or vice versa. Just to clarify that milk and honey can be used on any steps, and it doesn't have to be on hits in battle. Hits and steps are synonymous in this game, at least in this scenario, because that's the scenario special rule. Now, Dawn Raid, there's a turn and then there's a combat turn. This spell should say combat turn, so that there's absolutely no mistaking that this is a combat spell that can only be cast in a combat hex in the combat phase. Chariot Charge, there was an errata from Tom, also applies to any speed 3 units, so chariots are not the only unit that gets the benefit of the Chariot Charge. Probably this should just be renamed to Charge. I'm not so sure. I guess I'd have to look at a chariot unit. We'll take a quick look at it. I guess they must be speed 3. Let's see. The Furies, again, normal turn. I've changed that to combat turn. So those are the erratas, or the clarifications, if you prefer to call them that. Let's take a quick look at the blocks. And as you can see, the Amazon Chariot, it is a speed 3 unit and a desert unit. Okay, good. Now, before we start this game, we have to select these units that come in as reinforcements. We're going to roll randomly for that. I always like to initialize these vassal dice. I don't trust anything that starts with a particular seed. Oops, the battle board. Okay, so that's enough. So I'm done with the initialization. So let's see what the barbarians are going to get. We'll roll 2 dice. First die is the unit that comes in on turn 2, and the second die on turn 3 is up. But anyway, and then number 6 is the spider. The spider comes in on, so that's on turn 2 and turn 3. Now we'll roll for the other units, the Amazonian units, and they get 5 and 6. So they're going to get a Hellcat. That's nice. It's a city unit. And a Centaur. So on turn 3, they will get the Hellcat, and on turn 4, they will get a Centaur. These are all going to be full strength. I haven't marked them at full strength yet. Let's do that. Let's see, we can add a step. Add a step. Control R is faster. Whoops. Okay, that's right. It's only a step 3 unit. Hellcat. Control R. Ding, ding, ding. Oops. Darn it. There's another control for going backwards. Control C. Okay. So control and control R. And the Centaur is nice. Now, the other thing is there's going to be a balance adjustment for this, because the maximum strength that a unit could get would be 16. In other words, it's the Ice Dragons. There's an Ice Dragon in here that 8 times 2, look over here, 8 times 2 is 16. So all the rest of the units are worth less than 16 gold points. So for example, when this Manticore comes in, it's worth 4 times 3 is 12 points. They'll also get 4 treasure gold coins up here, silver coins or gold coins, whatever. that come in that can be used to build a unit in a city. They'll have to get it to the city. Same will be true over here. So they'll get 4 gold coins there. They're going to get some coins for this. This is actually quite good. The spider's 15, so they'll only get 1 gold coin for that. And both of these, the Hellcat's 15, and so is the spider. All right, how did I choose these chaos units? Well, you can see a lot of the barbarian ones are desert-based. I figured they're attacking out of the desert. I put a couple of flyers in there too. And so actually what happened though is the barbarians did get one. Did they get a flyer? No, they didn't. They only got ground units. So they're going to have to blast their way through. I didn't give them any aquatic units that could come up. And the centaurs got a knight. They come in. They're a good unit in the forest here. That one's actually worth 3 times 4, so that's 12. So he'll come in with 4 gold points as well. Okay, one of the other issues about this scenario is it's absolutely not clear if you can buy other types of core units. I haven't decided how I'm going to play that yet. The scenario, you can infer that you're not allowed to build anything else but what you start with. So, and everything that does get killed is destroyed, so that would be the reason you would think so. However, if I'm bringing in additional gold coins, I'm probably going to rationalize that those units with the gold coins could be built in additionally from the ones that are there, but only with the gold coins. So the other thing is, no, I think that covers it. All of these are going to be useless. We'll get rid of them now. Actually, I think if you delete them, they go to the dead pile. We've got lose step, add step, kill. Let's kill them. But I think when you kill them, they come up in the dead pile, which is not right. You should be able to delete them too. But I think it might have been smart for the vassal designer to not put a delete button in, because somebody will hit the delete button when you only wanted to put them in the dead pile, and then you'll have lost track of your unit, and all of those kinds of problems will occur. What else? So we don't have any wear units. We don't have to worry about the phase of the moon. It's simply a matter of attacking. One thing I didn't point out that I did want to mention is Crimson Lake. This is treated as a lake hex as its center of this. I wish they had center dots, but you can estimate that the center of this hex is in fact the lake. This is treated as if it's a sea hex, so there's actually nothing that's going to be able to station itself in here unless you have a flying aquatic unit, because nothing can sail up the Skagar River to get past Crimson Falls. So Crimson Falls prohibits anything from staying in that hex. It's a great place to put like a secret henge. Like if you have a henge in here, you could say, okay, well, because there's a henge in this hex, one wizard can land in the Crimson Lake area and replenish himself, something like that. So you could have this as a specially cool type of hex for something interesting. So you can see, why this game is so appealing. You can create sort of a lore, sort of a mythical sort of story. Here the barbarians, will the Amazons hold the Iron Gate and keep them from taking the point? Or will they stop them at the Farga Pass? The terrain's not very good here for the Amazons. It's all mostly clear terrain. And that means that they're going to be able to that is, the enemy is going to be able to pile in a lot of units. And with the barbarian spells, this could be quite deadly for them. So I'd like to point out one thing that the Amazons do have is the Beguile spell. Now look at this. Because I added the chaos units, this now comes into play, but it's a very powerful spell. Check it out. The Amazon mage, or wizard, I forget what her name is. How could I forget? I think it's Charmer. So the Charmer, if she doesn't have 4 steps, she's going to have to immolate herself in order to take over the chaos unit. But that could win the game for him, because you could switch it over at a crucial time, It switches sides for the duration of the battle and is then killed at the end of the battle. So, tough call here for the Amazon. Do they want to keep their Amazon at strength 4 so they can beguile a possible chaos unit? That's going to be hidden. We know that what turn it comes in, but once it starts stacking with units, it will be impossible to determine where the chaos unit is. So, tough decisions. That's what makes a good scenario. All right, so let's finish up here. Is there anything else I have to say about this? There isn't. So, one other thing I will say. That did slide down now. Look at that. Nice. Okay. This turn track is too small. I'm going to have to make it so that I can put units on it like this. And then I don't even know if there's a turn track marker, is there? I didn't check. Let's check it out. Tracker window. What is a tracker window? Oh, there it is. I wonder if I can put... Okay. Well, I could put them in there, but what I'll do is I can flip this around. So who's going to start? We know that the Barbarians... Okay, it's either gold. Okay, player 1. So player 1 is going to be the Barbarians. They start off this game. And in fact, the Amazons can't move on turn 1, which gives them an additional handicap, although they can build. So you can see, we can hide all the units, you can see why Nico here is quite important, because that's going to be the main base of operations for the Barbarians. They need some city that they can start rebuilding. They will lose steps as time goes on. So, interesting scenario, the usual 10-turn scenario for Wizard Kings. I don't know how this became the standard, but it is. In many of the scenarios, 10 turns. And we'll start the turn. I won't be playing using the Vassal module. I'll be playing and recording with my smartphone the actual pieces, as I think it's a better representation of how the game feels. You just can't play a game on Vassal and get that tactile moment, or you can't, the smell of counters in the morning sort of feeling. So Vassal has its places, but when I play this, I'm going to put it on the real board. Okay, thanks for your time. Thanks for coming by. Subscribe, like, whatever you want to do. See you soon.